Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Police say unused prescription medicine can not only make you a target, but also an accidental dealer. WYMT's Hannah Reynolds explains why police say it is important to properly dispose of unused medicine.
Nearly 70% of teens abusing prescription drugs say they got them at home.
Stored in a medicine cabinet or in their purse or in a kitchen cabinet, and it's not securely locked.
Making many accidental dealers, and flushing those prescriptions is just as bad.
We are having water samples that are showing that there are medications and things that are in them.
Hill says that's why they started their community take-back boxes across the region. They've now collected 13 tons of prescription pills since initiating the project.
If you were to lay those out pill by pill, side by side, it's enough to cover half of a football field, 1 inch deep.
Now, there are 41 permanent box locations, one being the London City Police Department. Police say it's the easiest.
It's as simple to use as just like dropping mail in a mailbox.
And safest way to dispose of the unused drugs.
It's packaged, it's sealed, it's labeled, it's weighed, and then we make sure that it's destroyed, just like using chain of custody for evidence.
Continuing to lessen the harms of unused prescription drugs. In Laurel County, I'm Hannah Reynolds, WYMT Mountain News.
The next National DEA Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, in cooperation with Operation Unite, will be April 27th. Attorneys generals from 20 states have joined Kentucky Attorney General Andy Beshear in defending the state's remaining abortion clinic. Beshear and the attorney generals are defending a ruling by a district judge that says a state law is unconstitutional. That law requires abortion clinics to have signed agreements with hospitals and an ambulance service in case of emergencies. They argue that such a law is unconstitutional if it's used by the state to limit access to abortion. The Bevin administration had used that law to try and close the EMW Women's Surgical Center in Louisville, claiming their hospital and ambulance agreements were invalid. Tonight, we have learned a grand jury indicted Walter Lee Curtis of killing a man last August in Johnson County. Curtis is accused of killing Mike Jones. Police told us Curtis believed Jones stole from him the day before. The grand jury indicted him on a manslaughter charge. His arraignment is tomorrow morning. The charges against a man who was accused of trying to kidnap a child at a mall in West Virginia have been dropped. Zion was first accused by a mother on Monday of trying to kidnap her child while they were shopping in a store in the mall. The mother told police he grabbed her 5-year-old daughter by the hair and tried to drag her away, but she pulled out a gun to stop him. Zion was arrested and charged Monday night. Barboursville police said in a news conference Tuesday that there were inconsistencies with his story.
Now, while we saw those mostly sunny skies just a couple hours ago, now we're really seeing that cloud cover starting to take over. You'll notice that here as we take a look at some of our cameras. We're looking at our Whitesburg cam into downtown Whitesburg, mostly cloudy skies, and really much of the same story as we look up into the Mountain Parkway over into Slade, Kentucky as well. And really, we're going to start to see those rain chances increasing as we head into those overnight hours as well. Good news is, as we look at satellite and radar now, you'll really notice those clouds increasing just over the past couple of hours. Those rain chances aren't quite here yet. We still got a little bit of time before we see those rain chances really start to increase. Now, those temperatures, they're anywhere from the low to mid 70s. Overall, still very comfortable outside, but you'll definitely need that rain gear as we head into your Friday, and I'll have that coming up in just a little bit. Steve.
All right, Paige, thank you. President Trump has eased off his threat to shut down the southern border. He is giving Mexico 1 year to halt the flow of illegal drugs before imposing tariffs. This comes as House Democrats ramp up their investigations into the president, from the Mueller report to his tax returns. CBS's Natalie Brand has the latest from the White House.
President Trump threatened tariffs against Mexico 1 day before a visit to the southern border.
We need help from Mexico. If Mexico doesn't give the help, that's okay. we're going to tariff their cars coming into the United States.
At a White House meeting on community investment, the president did not discuss reports in the New York Times and Washington Post that some members of special counsel Robert Mueller's team believe Attorney General William Barr mischaracterized their findings. President Trump's team says it's time to move on and says it's time to end the attacks on the president.
They've wasted 2 years of their life and they need to find a way to validate it.
Democrats argue that releasing the report would stop the speculation.
The Mueller report should be disclosed in its fullness. All of it. That's it. Full stop.
The House Judiciary Committee voted Wednesday to give its chairman, Jerry Nadler, subpoena authority on the Mueller report. That same day, House Ways and Means Chairman Richard Neal sent a request to the IRS for the president's tax returns.
What will they find in these tax returns that Mueller could not find?
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi defended her caucus.
I salute my chairman. They've been very thoughtful. They're evidence-based in what they are doing.
Attorney General William Barr is expected to answer questions on the Mueller report in public hearings on Capitol Hill next week. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
The Department of Justice released a statement earlier today saying Attorney General Barr and the special counsel continue to work together on appropriate redactions to the Mueller report so it can be released. With the weather being this great, it's the perfect day to get out and enjoy it. And what better place than Keeneland in Lexington? Today is opening day for the spring meet. It started a day early this year. Races began at 3 o'clock. Tomorrow, Coach Cal will be at the track early signing Maker's Mark bottles. Scientists at the International Space Station received a welcome delivery today. A Russian cargo ship took off for a 3-hour trip to the station. The spacecraft, called the Progress 72, was loaded with more than 3 tons of food, fuel, and supplies. That includes more than 100 pounds of air and 900 pounds of water. The spacecraft will remain at the ISS until returning to Earth in late July. Good news for people living on the coast. Researchers are forecasting a slightly below normal Atlantic hurricane season. 5 hurricanes are expected this year, with 2 that are considered major, meaning Category 3 or higher. That's about 75% of normal activity. Last year, storm activity was 20% above average, with 8 hurricanes. Those included Hurricane Michael, which ravaged Florida's Panhandle, and Hurricane Florence, which flooded much of the Carolinas. The University of the Cumberlands is looking for 400 new alumni donors for their Cumberlands Give Day. The university says starting at midnight, they began taking donations from alumni donated to specific programs, helping to diversify funding. Some started challenges, including the baseball program, asking for help in getting a new hit track system.
This is just an opportunity for us to reach out to our alumni and give them an opportunity to give back to a school that we feel like, has given them a lot.
At 9:30 this morning, they were already up to 145 donors. Cumberland's Give Day will continue through midnight. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, investigators release new details on what led up to a Boeing 737 MAX 8 crash in Ethiopia.
And while we were above average today, will we see that actually continue into the weekend? It's looking like a yes, but not before we see those rain chances tonight and into your Friday. I'll have those details coming up in just a few short minutes.